Hey, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So today's chapter is on chapter 10, and last chapter was about giving. And I guess before class, I guess we just discussed a few things on that too. So we'll just pass over that for now. So chapter 10 is about vices, and Goviji says it's going to explore anger and other things as well. Goviji says that the person who can recognize such vices in themselves and then destroys them, they will gain bliss. And the person who takes pride in such vices will experience pain and suffering. Now, it kind of seems weird, like who would take pride in such vices? But if we think about it, it's quite common if, for example, someone gets angry, then someone just makes that a part of their identity. Like, yes, main ta gussa wala hi haan. This is the type of person that I am. Oh, yes, I am a greedy type of person, or I'm a lustful type of person. They make it a part of their identity and they kind of justify it. So Goviji is saying that the person who takes pride in these things will experience pain and suffering. But if you can recognize it, even the smallest amount of it, if you can recognize it and then destroy it, then you will gain bliss. Then Goviji shares more qualities, more vices. So those who wear stained, dirty clothes, which in this day and age would be like poor dressing sense, like, just wearing the same clothes again and again. Those who have stained teeth and therefore poor dental hygiene, so just not taking care of yourself on that self-care side of things. Those who consume indulgent foods, so like fatty meats, fatty foods, sugary foods, all those type of foods. Those who do not speak sweetly with other people. Those who have no routines, and Goviji says they stay asleep even when the sun has fully risen. So it's like midday and they're still sleeping, and then they start the day and then they don't go to sleep until it's really late at night. These type of qualities, Goviji says, even if it was Vishnuji themselves, then their own good virtues would leave due to these type of vices, due to these type of qualities. So I really like how clear examples are given here that I feel like a lot of us can just apply right now, like setting our routines, waking up when the sun wakes up, going to bed when the sun, goes to bed, speaking sweetly, being mindful of what we're eating, making sure that we're taking care of our hygiene, like our self-hygiene, and even just like wearing decent, clean clothes. That's a really good point that they've made there. Then they say those who steal from others and live by that. So that could be money, that could be food, that could be in any way. Those who keep an eye on others' wealth, but rather than minding their own wealth. So they look at the other person's car, their house, whatever type of money or jewelry or whatever they're keeping in their wealth, but they don't look at their own, like they just need to mind their own business. And I guess there's a lot of that in the community as well. Those who wrongfully enjoy the company of another's wife. So Goviji has written that quite explicitly in the text, but I think in this day and age, it's fair to say even like the wrong intentions with another person, and you might be able to tell that, okay, I'm with this person in the wrong intention, with the wrong look, so that is also completely wrong. Those who cheat another and wrongfully stay at their place. For example, what does it mean to wrongfully stay at someone's place? It could be like not paying rent, or it could be cheating someone to taking them in. So like kind of like tricking them into it, or guilt tripping them into it, or taking advantage of someone's hospitality. So all these type of things. And then Kaviji says such people will go to any length and continue to engage in these wrongful deeds. And then what will happen? Any good deed that they had collected in their past karma, in their current karmas, they will all be eliminated because of these wrongful deeds. And they say even if it was in their death, they would not receive any praise, any shobha because of these things. Then there's some more vices that they've spoken about. They say there is no bigger pain than hunger to this body. And there is nothing greater than worry that makes the body frail. So what makes our body in most pain is the hunger. So that's one thing we always have to be mindful of, is our hunger cues, like just making sure we're eating on time. Next, what makes our body so weak and frail is chinta, worry. And when we talk about mental health, this is absolutely the number one cause of pretty much most diseases, stress. And so there's nothing else that makes a person's body so weak and frail as stress and worry. There is no jewelry like good knowledge. So if someone is well knowledgeable, there's nothing that's going to make them look better than that. And there is nothing greater than forgiveness, because when we, like, automatically, if someone has done us wrong, automatically the brain starts to think of the way that you can kind of get equal. However, with forgiveness, the first person that we're actually benefiting is ourselves, because we've actually released that negative energy. Hanji, Ekam.
Yeah, it's like there is no jewelry like good knowledge. Can you describe what good knowledge is?
Yeah, so from Vidya, from the text that we're reading from now, from Gurbani, from Vedantic texts, that's what I would consider good knowledge. But even then, for example, if someone is wearing earrings and jewelry and the other person has professional knowledge, the professional knowledge is going to stand out more because when you start to engage with someone, that's what really shows up. So there is like a supreme greatest knowledge, which is Vidya from the Guru. But even if it's just professional knowledge, or even if you're just a knowledgeable person, that's going to come across as more, well adorned than even jewelry. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Then there's more qualities as well. So those who do not eat on time, such hunger makes the body suffer, and the intellect gets eliminated. And I kind of find this quite amusing because of the term we have now, hangry. But like they've just called it out here, that when you're hungry, your buddhi actually gets just destroyed. And it's so true, because like we're just not in our sane sense, because we're not thinking rationally while we're hungry. Like it's such a simple point that we just need to be more mindful of in our life. Because it's no good to be operating in life or making decisions when our intellect is not like fully being used. So then the other one is those who overthink and worry. Okay, those who overthink and worry, they cannot sleep and rest properly. So this is another big one, because first, our mind is diseased, right? We can't sleep and rest. But then because we're not sleeping and resting, then again, the body is also upset, because the appetite also gets affected. So the importance there is about the importance of sleep and rest. So those who are lustful are constantly seeking out more and do not feel shame or fear. So there are these type of people out there, and they have no sense of what it means to be shunned from society, or, they have no sense of boundary or respect of these type of relations. And so that's why they say they do not feel any sense of shame or fear because of that. And those who even slightly are afflicted by the need for wealth, they do not have any guru or relatives, as they only ever use people to fulfill their own desire. And I think that's a very strong statement, especially in this day and age. We kind of think, is that a bit too strong? But if you think about it, if someone is always wanting wealth, that's going to be at the forefront of their mind. So even if they're speaking with their own family and own friends, or even from the guru, the way that they're going to have the interaction is always to be like, oh, please help me with getting this, and therefore I will then return the favor. That's the type of mindset that such people are in. Because just adding on to here, relationships, whether it's with our friends, whether it's with our family, or whether it's with the guru, I think from a Western perspective, we do a lot more give and take, and we think we've kind of normalized that in society. But we have to really take it back and just, you know, especially if we come from migrant families, we get more into that scarcity mindset, but we really have to think about what it means to connect with another person. When we connect with a person, when we're in a healthy relationship, there is nothing that we want to gain from them. We are simply there in their presence. If they are happy, then we are happy with them. If they are sad, we are sad with them. We're just there in the moment with them. That's the kind of beauty of like when we look at the stories of like Mahabharata and stuff, how they kept these, you know, relationships, and, you know, they were with each other, they were standing with each other. And that's the type of energy we need to be bringing more into our modern day societies. So whether it's with our family, brothers and sisters, or friends, ek dusre da saath dena, just being there for each other, not wanting more or less. And that same type of gun will then go into our bhakti as well, with our relationship with Guru, where we then do not want anything from Guru. We just simply want to connect with Guru. We want to be in their presence. So those who are even slightly afflicted by the need for wealth, they do not have that type of connection in these relationships. And that's a big thing that they miss out on in life, actually. Then the next part is all about anger. And there's a lot that's shared about anger, because they've described anger as quite a big vice. And so Kaviji says, when anger enters, then we lose all sense of meaning. And so Bhaimanpreet Singh Ji kind of explained it further and said, for example, when anger comes, then reality is not what we see it as. When we're angry, we can't make use of any wisdom that we even had. It's all gone in that moment. It gets distorted. And then Mahapurushs have even described a person in anger as being blind. So we should instead just give ourselves time and let that anger pass before making any decisions, before saying any extra words, before taking any extra step. And so Kaviji has said, because anger is a root cause of increasing our karmas, and that leads to ongoing cycle of birth and death. Of course, it's going to increase our karmas when we're just acting out of feeling wronged or something like that, rather than using our wisdom to get shant and just think of how to move on from that situation without contributing more to it. So the one who is in anger falls from the path of dharam, and so good deeds are those with which we can give up that type of anger. Good deeds are letting go of that anger, moving constructively through it, not acting in that anger. So if we compare anger and poison, anger destroys the vessel from which it originated from, because it came from the mud, and it poisons that itself as well. Whereas poison doesn't poison its own container. It only poisons who it was intended to poison. And so in a way, they've said it's even more dangerous than poison, because not only does it, you know, destroy the person that it was going towards, but it also destroys the person that it came from. So in anger, respect, humility, because of that pride that comes with a sense of anger, like the increased sense of self, and love. All of these three things are destroyed instantly due to anger, not just over time, but instantly. And then they've said another vice, in greed, all good virtues are destroyed. Typo there. And a person who does nindya of sant Jis and virtuous beings, they are in love with engaging in pap karam. So anyone who does nindya of people that have good gun, and they do nindya of them, say for example, someone's doing charity, right? I'll give you a clear example of this. There could be someone that is a Sikh that is doing good work in charity. They might like, you know, cut their hair or something like that. And instead, if we're focusing on the negatives rather than focusing on the positives, then that's like a person that's just loving to engage in that bab karam rather than focusing on the good. So we should also be aware of that. And then next, Goviji says the person who follows his partner rather than Guru's wisdom. And so in the text, it actually says the person who follows his wife, but Bhaimanpreet Singh Ji said we need to just consider that historically the context that this was written in, and we should really read it as the partner. So if we're following our partner rather than the Guru's wisdom, if we are forgetting the Guru's wisdom, and or we follow the partner in more or out of desire, and then we leave our friends or our friend circle for it. Or we follow the advice of the partner and then we cause hatred within friend circles. And these type of situations are quite common. So it's really good how they really clearly said that. These are the 4 wrong paths and the doors to death. That's what Goviji has said. Is there any question with this part? I guess I will just add it in this bit here, especially with anger. I guess in the Western society, people might feel like, yeah, but isn't anger normal? And like coming from even a therapy perspective, like, yes, the emotion can come up, but at the end of the day, like you can't deny the fact that when there is the emotion of anger, all of the intellectual, the rationality, all those things disappear. So that's something that science also agrees with. And Goviji has very well said, and it's nothing that we can refute by anything that's in modern day, perspective. So don't have any confusion with that. If there is anger, we should not be making decisions based in that time. We should just let that anger pass. And Hanji.
Yeah, I had a question with the last slide where it's like you shouldn't be hungry and hunger eliminates the intellect. I also remember saying that, or someone saying that, like, you can keep fast if it's for like health.
Mm-hmm.
So then how do those two like work together again?
So the thing is, obviously you would say you fast for your health. That's because you're sick. You wouldn't be making such type of decisions when you're sick then. Like when you're sick, you're not the best anyway. So when you're sick, you take a day off work, for example, because you know you're not feeling well and therefore you would not be able to work. So in the same way, when we're sick, we should also not be making any rash decisions or making any big decisions. We should be waiting until we're feeling better.
Okay,
And then,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, in sickness, of course, it's a good thing to reduce the workload on our body. So it's digesting less foods and therefore our body is recovering better.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned, like I mentioned, I remember this experience once. So I met someone and they were fasting, but they were so irritable, so cranky. So that's the other thing, like when people do this as some sort of tapasya, like it's up to them to understand that being hungry doesn't then make them more irritable and actually make them go towards like having more karam again, because it goes into anger, then anger increases the karam, which is why for us, we see fasting as a tool for health. We do not see it as a form of, for example, tapasya. Like we always go towards naam as the main tool for that. Because in many ways we've seen that we can do fasting, we can go to pilgrimages, we can do all these things and not attain that thing that we're looking for. So it's good to know where fasting stays within everything. It's more like a health tool. So yeah, that's where the chapter 12 ends, and Kaviji has shared knowledge about anger and other vices. And so they've explained these are the things that we need to overcome in order to become liberated. That's the chapter. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.